Nintendo Switch 2 is disappointing. Why I'm not buying the Nintendo Switch 2 right now. Switch 2 dropped and it's not impressive.
Why I'm not buying that Switch 2 right now, said the Indian guy. The Switch 2's sitting on his desk.
Bruh.
Now let me explain, okay? Let me explain myself real quick. I actually had no intentions of picking this device up.
This has to be one of the funniest situations I've seen in a long time that's not Ian or Anissa related. So welcome back, my unemployed amigos and amigas. Great to have you here. Lovely to have you back. And before my mom and my dog get doxxed because I'm making this video on a very beloved YouTuber, I don't want my puppy to be doxxed by Redditors or Twitter users or Linux users. So I don't hate Mutahar. All right, I want to make that very clear. I don't have a problem with him. If anything, I'm just making this video because the situation that he got himself into is low-key kind of hilarious. So over the last few months, Mutahar, or Some Ordinary Gamers, has been making video after video after video talking about how bad and whack the Nintendo Switch 2 is. Hacking the Switch 2 won't be easy. Why I'm not buying the Switch 2 right now. The Switch 2 is technically a brick. Nintendo can brick your consoles now. I don't know if you guys could tell by the titles and videos, but he's really not a big fan of the Nintendo Switch 2, and honestly, I don't blame him. Unlike Mutahar, I will be voting with my wallet. I am not going to support Nintendo and their shitty new terms of service. I don't want the industry heading that way, and on top of that, the biggest thing for me, I just don't care about Nintendo. I've never really been a Nintendo guy myself. I have a Switch 1. If you're Mutahar and you're constantly talking about how bad the Nintendo Switch 2 is, and then you go and buy one because you caved in, I mean, that's that's hilarious. Someone on Twitter says, does this guy ever walk his talk? What happened to voting with your wallet and not supporting shitty practices? Now, do I care that he bought a Nintendo Switch 2? I literally do not care what one does with their money. If you want to spend your money on prostitutes and cocaine like me, you know, go right ahead. But how can you be preaching Nintendo bad, and it's a popular thing to do right now just to shit on Nintendo, but the second it becomes cool again and we gotta consume. As a matter of fact, he dropped a whole 12-minute long apology for buying a Nintendo Switch. I think this Nintendo Switch 2 apology is longer than the apology for Nux Taku for throwing him under the bus. I think the Nintendo Switch 2 is pretty mid. I never cared for Nintendo. I'm a very casual Nintendo guy. If I were to rank consoles, it will be Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. This video right here is from a month ago, and it hasn't aged that well.
Now, one of the things with the Switch 2 that I've kind of unfortunately seen, my only issue with this, and one of the reasons I'm not getting it, is coincidentally because of one of the actual things they've released, the controversial thing that they've pushed, which is the Switch 2 game keycard. Now, I know there's a lot of people who are like, but Muta, you gotta grow up, old man, okay? The world is going exceedingly digital, all right? Why are you holding on to your physical copies? Because it's all I have, okay? It's important to me.
You know what? I actually agree with the Mutahar. I love physical media. I like holding things in my hands. I'm not a big fan of digital stuff, and I'm not even that old, okay? I'm not even in my 30s, but I love physical media. I'm not a fan of companies such as Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation going all digital. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite things to do besides dropping slop is going out, going to record stores, buying physical CDs, buying vinyls, buying physical games. I like owning my shit. As a matter of fact,
All right, here's proof that I love physical media. I mean, CDs. I think I've counted it. It's over 100 CDs. You know, you get hip hop, rap, Kanye, Beastie, and of course Eminem. You know, you get all sorts of music, of course, The Weeknd, and this is like the Green Day section, if you will. And all of these are Japanese copies that have gone from when I went to Japan. So I love physical media. College Park, of course, Yeezus, Whole Lotta Red, Pablo, and Graduation. See, and I own this. No one could take it away from me. No streaming services could take away this from me. As a matter of fact, yeah, $7 for a classic. So physical media is the way. Own your stuff, for the love of God. Anyways, back to the video.
Now, going back to this video, I agree with Mutahar, and I think the Nintendo Switch and the way they're heading, the industry's heading, it's all digital, which, once again, I don't like. And I'm not saying this was everyone. I'm sure there's people out there who were super hyped for the Nintendo Switch and they're having a great time. That is awesome. Do you. Spend your time and money however the fuck you want. But for someone like Mutahar to go for months talking about how bad the console was and how anti-consumer it was, just for him to turn around and be like, yeah, guys, I bought it. It's like, bro, what the fuck? They have plenty of these in stock. I knew you were going to get it day one, even though you said you would hold off, lol. Honestly, took a chance at a midnight launch near me. I kind of hope there's a day one exploit somewhere for these. You know, it's perfectly fine to want and get a Switch 2 at launch. I don't know why you went on about why you weren't getting one before. I will not buy a Switch 2, and you guys should hold off. Actually, never mind. I'm gonna buy a Switch 2. Talk shit, then buy one. What was the point in making that video then? It seemed like you were dead set on not getting it and showing the other video. And this is the video that he dropped 2 days ago.
Why I'm not buying that Switch 2 right now, said the Indian guy. The Switch 2's sitting on his desk. Now let me explain, okay? Let me explain myself real quick. I actually had no intentions of picking this device up, but surprisingly, Nintendo has done a pretty good job. Was that a voice crack? Surprisingly, Nintendo has a pretty decent stock pool of these things. I actually called up a EB Games near my place, probably like 20 minutes away. And they said, yeah, you can just walk in and pick up a Switch 2 tonight. And I was like, you know what? What if I could?
No, what happened to fighting the system? What happened to fighting capitalism? I'm so mad. I'm gonna punch my fucking monitor right now, guys. I'm crashing out. I want you guys to use your imagination for a second. What do you think the comment section looks like for this video? After months of preaching, he's not going to buy the Nintendo Switch anytime soon. Within a day, within 24 hours, he gets it as soon as it's out. How do you think the comment section responded to this? Bro told us not to buy it, so he had a better chance of getting it early. Bro stood on nothing. Bro didn't even wait 1 week. No, bro didn't even wait 24 hours for him to get the Switch. Vote with your wallet. Proceeds to vote yes. Bro didn't even wait 1 second. This is like when you deleted Twitter only to come back a month later. Don't buy don't buy a Switch 2 on release. There will be no stock left for me. Bro fumbled under no pressure. Long story short, people didn't really like this from him. So much so that he had to drop, let me see if I can find it. So much so that he had to drop a 12-minute long apology about the Switch drama.
Let's just talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. I made a mistake. I ended up buying that Nintendo Switch 2, even though I said that I was going to hold off. I wasn't just going to go buy it outright. And there I was, going on a midnight release, and I ended up picking it, you know, just on a walk-in. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, there's no way to sugarcoat or cut around this. I did, in fact, commit a hypocrisy. I made a mistake. I should have not bought this product. Now, I made a few videos on the Switch 2. Well, not a few, several. And I've basically covered it. I've not been the most positive viewer of it, especially around certain things like those game key cards, and especially about their TOS, when apparently it seems like they can just brick your systems, and more specifically around the fact that maybe the system is in fact a brick when you ended up picking it up. Now, as you all know, yesterday I made a pretty big mistake. I actually made a video with the Switch 2 inside the actual frame. I actually had one on screen. I bought one. I used it to play Cyberpunk 2077 on it. Now, the reason why this was a pretty big mistake, and I do absolutely believe I should actually apologize to my audience, is I didn't practice what I preached. You know, I said you should vote with your wallet, and what did I do? I straight up charged my card and got the Switch 2.
This is completely unacceptable, and Mutahar deserves the electric chair for being a gamer. In all seriousness, do I think this is disgusting and he could never come back from this? No, everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has those days. You know, if GTA 6 cost $100, Muta will be the first to pre-order to review. It turns out he really is some ordinary gamer. This just confirms that gamers don't know how to vote with their wallets. I mean, you are more than welcome to pause to look at the comment section, but people are not having it. A lot of people are disappointed. Conclusion of this video, I have no idea. I actually have no idea what the fucking conclusion is. Maybe if you're gonna preach something, actually do it. Walk the walk. Anyways, with that said, what do you guys think of the situation? Massive day for the unemployed. I'm gonna go to bed now. It's way too late. I'm recording this at 12 and I gotta go mimir. So I'm out. No hate to Mutahar. I just thought this was funny. Please don't dox me or threaten to kill my puppy. I'm out. Bye.